So my name is Dustin. I'm a director of cloud infrastructure and architecture practice here at Ollion. This is Eric.
Yep. And I'm Eric. I'm a senior solutions architect. Been with Second Watch for 6 years.
Yeah, I've been here about 10 myself. So we wanted to start off with this, so a little bit of attention, if you will, is that we've helped AWS invest more than $4 million over the last 2 years to help our clients fund their migrations and modernization. This is a big shift from what AWS program, the MAP program, used to do, which was only allow modernization in the migrate phase. We're now doing it in the mobilize phase, which we'll talk about here in a few minutes. And so this funding number, this is what we've gathered with AWS to help do these big projects. And that's just over the last 2 years. So, and the key thing to know here, one of the key takeaways is that funding is only available when working with a premier partner like Ollion, who is an AWS premier partner. We have access to all funding at any level. And so it's a great place to start. Eric, do you want to take it from here?
Yes. The Migration Acceleration Program, AWS, consists of 3 different phases: the assess phase, the mobilize phase, and the migrate and modernize phase. And as Dustin said, we do like to incorporate the modernization into the mobilize phase. This slide is in reference to AWS proper. So each one of these features are things that sometimes a partner does, but AWS can also come in and provide value during this whole process. So we work hand in hand with AWS to do things like immersion days and briefings and workshops. But the next slide will show what we as a partner actually do. So again, these are all the different things that you might want to think about as you're engaging in any sort of migration. All right, so in the first phase is all the funding is based on the ARR, which is the annual run rate of AWS. So what we do is we do a complete TCO analysis, taking into account your existing environment, how that might translate into AWS. And so AWS provides these tools here in the first phase, like Migration Evaluator and an Optimization License Assessment. We actually look at your licenses and map that into AWS. So we do all the heavy lifting of trying to understand what it takes to get into AWS for you. And in this phase, AWS will fund up to $60,000 of all of this work. And that's so at no cost to you, we as a partner perform all of these things here. The TCO analysis I was mentioning, and then we create the business case for your company. Sometimes you need to prove to your organization that a move to the cloud is the right thing to do. And we're responsible to do that for you. Also funded by Amazon Web Services. So we take into account all of your inventory. We rationalize the best way to migrate those things to the clouds and give you that full product strategy of what you may do with those applications. And that leads us into the next phase where we do the physical work, the implementation work. So this means we'll create a landing zone, we'll implement control tower. We will use all the AWS services to do that migration. So when you're done with mobilize, you'll have a perfect foundation, landing zone, and at the same time, we'll identify specific applications that you need to move to the cloud that aren't really targets for just a lift and shift, because we want to modernize at the same time. At Dustin's point, we're able to take some of that 50%, that burden from AWS to help you modernize your applications to make them more cloud native. And in addition to, and other parts of applications as well. So database freedom is rolled into this, which means we'll take you off of a commercial database into a cloud native database, such as Aurora, Postgres, or MySQL, for example. And as part of Mobilize, we'll do a proof of concept for that application. And once we complete this phase, and then you move everything over and migrate. So some component of this will be lift and shift. Some component of it will be actually modernized to cloud native for you. And then at this point, everything that you bring into the cloud, AWS funds that at 25% of the ARR for a full year after that. So if you have a premier partner do this, you get access to all of these features, and including for specialized workloads like Windows workloads and commercial databases, you get even more kickers from that. And that's part of doing the optimization license assessment, which we perform. So one of the key things that we're discussing here is back in the day, everyone would just lift and ship, which means moving a workload by itself, VM to VM, perfect match, replicated into the cloud. We no longer want to do that for efficiency and using cloud native features. That is kind of the old way. Now it's definitely justified in many cases. But when you have your primary workloads that need to be re-architected, or they're 10 years old, or they're built from a monolith, you need to dive into that deeper. And Dustin, being the leader of our cloud solutions team, he's very skilled at understanding the complexity and dealing with complexity. So why don't you talk to some of that?
Yeah, and really a lot of what we're trying to say here is a long-winded way to say we can get help to fund your mobilization or your modernization efforts. And you know, you look at the legacy way of doing things with a lift and ship, and all you're doing is you're moving a lot of your technical debt just to another data center. This happens to be a cloud-based data center. With this approach, you're going to get a lot less technical debt on the other end. You're going to start out with a lot less cost because you're going to come in optimized and highly modern. And again, with the help of the funding from AWS, this makes it a lot more attainable for most people now.
I think that's it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now come see us if you want to talk more about it. Happy to dive into the MAP program, go into more detail anytime you want. Thanks.